is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
It is Thursday, 11th July 2024. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. This is news to 6 a.m. on News Power Digital. Police have seized cocaine valued at over $4.5 million, which was concealed in hair products intended for export. The operation on Tuesday stemmed from credible intelligence developed by the TTPS in 2023, which uncovered the operations of a sophisticated drug trafficking network based in South Trinidad. The network allegedly imported illegal narcotics from South America, concealed them within legitimate cargo, and exported them to various international destinations using local courier services. Following multiple arrests and significant seizures over the past year, the TTPS Intelligence Unit recently received information about an impending narcotics shipment. Acting on this intelligence, officers ID'd a vehicle linked to the drug trafficking network. On Tuesday, July 9th, during a surveillance operation, the vehicle was spotted traveling along roads in a northeastern division. Upon searching the vehicle, officers discovered several containers of hair cream, upon which field testing revealed the presence of cocaine. They seized a total of 3.25 kilograms of cocaine with an estimated street value of $4.5 million. The driver, a man from Point 14, was arrested and taken to the San Rafael police station for further inquiries. In Tobago, a fourth victim, Jamoki Duncan, has passed away due to injuries sustained as a result of multiple shootings in Black Rock, Tobago, early Monday morning. The victim was shot in the pelvis and shoulder and suffered a broken femur. He passed away at the Scarborough General Hospital Monday shortly after 9:30 p.m. The shootings took place in Black Rock. The four dead men are now ID'd as Anthony Douglas, 56, of Black Rock, Samuel McCain, 56, of Mount Pleasant, Gregory Hamlet, 53, of Golden Lane, and Jamoki Duncan of Bethel. The government of Trinidad and Tobago will receive US $372,100,000 for the impact of Beryl on Tobago. This revealed by the Caribbean Catastrophe Risk Insurance Facility. The government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines will receive US $1.8 million. It's designed to limit the financial impact of catastrophic hurricanes and earthquakes to Caribbean governments and states by quickly providing short-term insurance payouts when a policy is triggered. The opposition UNC is calling on the government to be more proactive when it comes to addressing issues related to the fight against dengue. St. Augustine Member of Parliament Khadija Amin at a news conference on Wednesday said there should be better teamwork and management of human resources, vehicles, equipment, and chemicals to tackle the problem. MP Amin said the blame game cannot put forward and move us forward on this issue. Meanwhile, former Health Minister Dr. Fuad Khan told Power News yesterday there needs to be more insect vector control officers going house to house to ensure there are no mosquito breeding grounds. 3 weeks ago, the country recorded 190 lab-confirmed cases of dengue, according to Health Minister Terence Dialsing. And as of Monday, there were 229 confirmed cases, including a sharp increase in the number so far this year. Member of Parliament for Maya Rushton Parry claims the recent withdrawal of US $160.38 million from the Heritage and Stabilization Fund by the government should sound alarm bells across the country. In a voice note on Wednesday, MP Parry suggested there should be caution and care demonstrated not to deplete the national savings and ensure proper fiscal management. The UNC is accusing National Security Minister Fitzgerald Hines of using his influence to expedite firearm users' licenses for his security detail. The party may soon ask the Integrity Commission to investigate Hines for allegedly abusing his power as a minister. The opposition believes it's more egregious that Hines seemed to have lied about it, in their opinion, at a sitting of the Joint Select Committee of Parliament in 2022, and may also find a motion of privileges against him. In news of the region, security forces in Antigua and Barbuda and Guyana are in Grenada supporting the recovery efforts following the passage of Hurricane Beryl. This will help create temporary emergency shelters and any new weather systems coming. Grenada's Prime Minister Dixon Mitchell said more soldiers from Guyana are expected on the island later this week. And finally, a union representing workers in South Korean technology giant Samsung Electronics has called its roughly 30,000 members to go on strike indefinitely as part of its campaign for better pay and benefits. The announcement came on the last day of a 3-day general strike being held by the National Samsung Electronics Union. And that's news to 6 a.m. right here on News Power Digital. We'll have major news coming your way at 7 a.m.
Up to date and credible. Power 102 Digital.
Welcome to the Power Breakfast Show on Power 102 Digital. It is 6.5 minutes after the hour of 6 o'clock on this, the 11th day of July. Good morning, show. Thank you so much for joining us. Of course, on the show this morning, we've got the R's. We've got Dr. Paul Richards, Richard Ragoobarsingh. We got Ruben in the mix. We've got Shane in the mix. Of course, my name is Steve Khan. 26 degrees on both islands. And I got no traffic to tell you about. That is great news. Good morning to you, Pablo.
Good morning, Steve. Good morning, everyone.
What's happening, my friend? What's happening? It is Thursday.
Yes, it is Thursday.
As Dr. Joe would say, Thursday.
The weekend is one day away.
Actually, I woke up this morning. I thought it was Friday.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was Friday, and I said, okay, cool.
You also thought you were Adonis, but here we are.
Yeah, no, behave. I did. I thought it was Friday, and I said, oh, no, wait. No, today is Thursday. Oh, well. What you going to do? Yeah. It's been a long week. Of course, nobody won Lotto last night, so it's gone up to $3 million.
That's all?
Yeah, they need to up that, That started at $2 million. It just started at $5 million. Yeah, but let's use send us hellos via Facebook and YouTube, and I'll get to WhatsApp shortly. We have Ray out in West Palm Beach, Florida, waking up this morning to no heat advisory. Gotta love that. Oliver Man Warren. Beefy Smith out in Goodwood, Tobago. Beefy Smith, you should call us and tell us what's going on there, Slick Money Grip, Boy Bedesi, you in the bad books. Brent Hackshaw, good morning. Rena Boodoo Jennings, Carol Guevara, John Cato, Wendy and James, David Wes, Marcia Rock in Orlando, Anthony Tinto out in Canada, Ontario, Canada, Trinidad, Margot, Gloria Gray, Alistair Hart, Godzilla, Wayne Ramsey, Shuin Kerr, Maria Celia, good morning to you. On WhatsApp, we have a couple. Let's see. We've got Sankofa, we've got Dan Raj, we have Michael out in London, we have Val, we have GNC Auto Security, and somebody else sent a message here. David Nelson, good morning to you. Of course, you too can WhatsApp at 318-1021. All right. So that's all my hellos this morning. And I should tell you, Paul and Wendell, that Husey starts on Sunday.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Husey starts on Sunday, the 14th, which would be Flag Night. Small Husey Night is on Monday. Big Husey Night is on Wednesday. Ashura Day is on Thursday, the 17th. All right. So take note of that.
Long ago, you see a big thing. People used to flood St. James long ago.
Yeah. I used to go.
Sometimes they're security charges.
Yeah.
That's supposed to be a drinking line. And that's supposed to be a drinking. It's a religious observance. And
yeah. Wendell is going to play Tassa.
Yeah, I know. He's still playing his little Tassa.
Yeah. I don't mind learning how to play Tassa at all.
Well, remember it had to be in front of you.
I didn't see that one coming.
Well, you could just get the drums because you have the sticks. You have the drum already.
Yeah, I didn't see that one coming. Well, I went into that one, my hands waving like I just don't care.
Hey, I don't think you're far off. Just get the drums and the sticks that you already have the drum.
I already have the drum.
Doom, 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 doom. Anyway, good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. How are you this morning? It's Thursday morning. Hope you're having a great morning so far. A fourth victim died from the Tobago Black Rock shootings last night.
Yes, it's at 17.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was 16. It was 17.
What?
For the year.
16.
It's 16?
Yeah. Jamoki Duncan. He was shot in the pelvis and shoulder and suffered a broken femur. He ended up at hospital. It's now 4 people dead from that situation.
I don't know. I don't know if you saw the video. There are 2 videos out of Barataria within the last couple of days. One chap came up the street, and 5th Street, which is the one that runs parallel to the bus route, and did not stop. Apparently, a unmarked police vehicle was behind him, and that's probably ran. And he just went straight in, hit a couple of cars, and ran out and crossed the bus route and ran off. And then yesterday morning at 6 o'clock, a young lady right on 5th Street again, right where the PNM campaign headquarters is, and what street is that? That would be 5th Street as well, so 5 and 5. A young man came up to rob a girl. She was already by the corner, and to take her purse. And of course, a vehicle was passing and had the porta toilets on it. And they actually reversed and went looking. I don't know what happened after that. We didn't have any footage of that. But boy, oh boy. Imagine waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Oh yeah, I'm going to rob somebody today. Paradise, but then again.
A lot of screenshots of conversations are being leaked these days. Let me not say leaked, ending up in the public domain. The latest being supposedly a conversation between National Security Minister Fitzgerald Hines and former Police Commissioner Gary Griffith, purportedly showing the minister seeking to have firearm users' licenses expedited for his security detail. The party, the UNC that is, may soon ask the Integrity Commission to investigate Hines for allegedly using his power or abusing his power as a minister. Now, from the exchanges I have seen, he said, "Can you give these favorable consideration?" What do you mean? What do you mean by favorable consideration?
Yes, approve it.
I don't know. I'm asking a question.
That's all I could think of.
Never a dull moment. So that's now conversations between the Prime Minister and the former Commissioner, conversations between Stuart Young, Minister of Energy, and the former Commissioner, and now conversations between Minister Hines and the former Commissioner.
Yeah.
Who shall be next?
I don't mind people having firearms. I really don't. But you have to do the proper applications. And once the police investigates and they realize, okay, that's fine, go ahead. If they realize that, nah, well, they don't.
See now, well, Minister Young was seemingly about the blasting licenses, and now this, so it's quite a debacle. Word to the wise, be careful what you commit to digital recordings.
Yeah. You do, you know.
Yeah.
Once it's out there, it's out there.
Well, I always tell people, I operate like whatever you send in a message, imagine it could go public one day. That's how I've always operated. Imagine at some point there could be a big hack and it could all go public. So make sure whatever you're sending you're comfortable with the public knowing about.
Yeah.
Even if you're a prime minister, a president, a high ranking government official, whoever.
Or the man next door. Doesn't matter.
Whoever.
Once it's out there, it is
Whoever.
out there.
Once you press send, presume one day it's going to go public.
Yeah.
Never a dull moment. It's quite interesting. But we'll see how it all evolves. We shall see. Police have seized. Congratulations to the TTPS.
And the intelligence, yes.
Yeah, and a very good work. And somebody could jump out this morning and said, oh, I ain't talk about the police doing good work, but I very often do. Congratulations, and I know exactly who it's going to be. Police have seized cocaine after an intelligence-driven exercise worth $4.5 million, concealed in hair products intended for export. Good work, TTPS. Good work.
Mm-hmm.
It was allegedly imported from South America, concealed within hair products,
Mm-hmm.
hair cream,
Mm-hmm.
several containers of hair cream.
Mm-hmm.
And the officers saw the car that they'd been surveilling and stopped the driver. They tested one of the containers, and of course, 3.25 kilograms of cocaine with an estimated street value of $4.5 million was discovered. Good work to TTPS. Very good work.
Good work.
The driver, a man from Point Fortin, was arrested and taken to the San Rafael police station for questioning. So that is really good work.
Yeah.
Now, Kate was asking an interesting question.
Say it.
Because a young lady walked up to me and asked me, because she identified herself as a member of the Ministry of National Security who, during working hours, has an FUL because of her job.
Mm-hmm.
But when she's going home, she has to take it back in. She doesn't have permission to take it home.
Mm-hmm.
And was asking me what I could do. I said, nothing. I said, I can't do nothing. She said, but don't you think we should? I said, well, it depends on the person and the circumstance. I know recently the Commissioner of Prisons was given the authority to identify officers whose lives may be under threat and allow them to take home weapons. I guess so to the police commissioner, because she has even more remit in the realm of firearms and firearm users licenses.
Mm-hmm.
But FUEC, yeah. But I guess the security detail that the Minister of National Security is purportedly, let me say that,
Mm-hmm.
Was asking about would have been for them to their FULs. Because if you're security detail for the Minister of National Security, I would imagine you'd have the FUEC, which because you ain't gonna be guarding the Minister of National Security at that level without a firearm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because the user's license is for civilians, I'm presuming, and the FUEC is for companies, security companies, etc. So, I mean, I guess he may have been, if we are to believe the exchanges we're seeing in the public domain, asking for personal FULs for these people.
Mm-hmm. But now when they'll finish work, they have to lodge it back in. Yeah. Yes, DL.
Never a dull moment. I'm presuming leading up to election 2025, we keep seeing a lot more leaked conversations.
Oh yeah, a little more bacchanal.
I don't know.
A little more bacchanal. I have a feeling this elections is going to be, the upcoming elections is going to be so, this coming out, that coming out.
Kadeem, you make a good point. Kadeem Khan Jr. He says, "Well, I
He
still
has a
congratulate
wonderful
the
last
police on interdicting the drug fine, and yes, I agree. The driver that they held is not the main person operating the drug business with the cocaine they found, and hopefully their intelligence would lead to the arrests and charging of the persons who are already behind it, because the driver is just a driver,
Mm-hmm.
you know." So we'll see how that goes. Let's open the phone lines. Yeah, the problem with the shortcoming with these busts is that the person who I shot the driver and bringing no container
He's just a driver.
or
He
exporting
paid a
no
lot of
container.
money to go from point A to point B.
The person who the masterminds and the big financiers behind this drug trade are the ones that we never see or never seemingly charged.
Well, I like to watch To Catch a Smuggler. I do. And I've seen they've filmed so many things, and they have
Phone lines
actually
are open, by the way, guys.
yeah, lines are open. And we've seen flights from Trinidad where they stop people, cargo, one being picture frames, one being a speaker. From Trinidad, the last one I saw was a young girl that flew to Gatwick, and the dog picked up something, but they couldn't find anything on her. They searched her bags, they couldn't find nothing. They checked inside, everything. But what she had was a play mat. The play mat for kids, that's when you step on those little funny thing. And that had the cocaine. The poor girl was arrested immediately. One young girl. Good morning, caller.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Patrick.
Apologize, Wendell.
Good morning, Mr. Patrick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man.
You know, the conversation we see coming out that was done in secret. Tell what the character of the people, Mr. Apologize.
Every conversation tells about your character.
If you and I are good friends and I did a favor for you or you did a favor for me, and then you and I fall out, why I must have a leak, bring out all these things in public?
Is that the real issue there, Mr. Patrick?
But that is the real issue.
How that could be the real issue? That is one of the issues, maybe, but how that could be the real issue?
The person I knew was doing things in confidence.
Also, it don't matter what you're doing in confidence.
At a certain level, I think in confidence.
So it don't matter what you're doing in confidence. That's what you're saying. This is your position. So your position is it doesn't matter what you're doing in confidence. It should remain secret all the time. That's what you're saying.
But what Mr. Hines is asking for is if you can find favor with these guys, he ain't telling you to do it.
Well, the statement is favorable consideration, eh? So that's not an instruction.
Well, favorable consideration, don't say I have to do it.
But as has been discussed earlier this week, the power dynamic between the entities involved in this conversation is where the question may come in. Yeah, should the request be made in the first place? And I'm sure this is not the only situation where requests at this level. I'm sure it's happened for decades. Good morning, Mr. Ragoobarsingh.
Hi, good morning, guys. And good
morning, Rich.
And it happens to a lot of people all over the world, all over Trinidad and Tobago. People have asked people if they could assist. That's the word I use, assist. I could say yes or no. Whether I choose to assist, and you and I fall out, why you want to bring out that?
And that's a position too that all the people are doing are asking. Some people have advanced that position. They have not instructed, and they have just asked for consideration and or assistance.
If I pay a bribe,
but and then the other side of it is people asking, should they be asking at all? So
you see, here we go down, one rabbit hole, and I hold that.
But it's not where Trinidad and Tobago is in the rabbit hole. Or you realize that yet?
Everybody could leak something. Everybody could ask for something. If you could ask God for something, where you can ask a human being for something, but it's what you're asking for. And even if you would come like you and a lady have a relationship, and the relationship go wrong, and well, but you have a leak and talk all kinds of
Mr. Patrick, that analogy is totally off.
Oh, we deal with the politics then.
That analogy is totally off. It is not the same thing at all.
Right, but in my mind, the guy asking for consideration is it come like the Chief Justice, I think, who asked for the house of the guy. You understand? Why, Mr. Richards, we have a pleasant morning.
Thank you, Mr. Patrick. Good morning, caller. Good morning, caller.
Yeah, morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
I could tell what it's going to be.
Yes, Ken. It's very disturbing, right? That for two reasons. One is that when you look at positions in Trinidad and Tobago, in terms of the Prime Minister and the Attorney General, Minister of National Security, right? They hold them as high-stake individuals, right? And the security detail of those individuals is not private security like amalgamated security, whatever the case to be. They are members of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. The question that has to be asked is why it is there is a delay in issuing those individuals, because they ask most of the time 24 hours to be called upon in terms of the Minister of National Security, in terms of securing that individual. Why it is that those individuals have to have a delay in issuing of FULs. And secondly, it's the first time in my life that I see someone that held high office, right? I never saw it with Ralph Brown or any other commissioners of police or any other person who holding high position, rather being in private or public office, that freely just being like a rattling information and bringing it to the fore. That leads me to question that individual's personal character and possibly if that person is fit for office in any regard. And that's my opinion.
And that's unique character you're questioning.
Why should I question? So what are the question character in this instance? Should I question the Minister of National Security?
I don't know. I'm asking a question. You could answer how you want.
Asking about his security detail, whether it is that, what is the situation with the personnel FUL? How is that questionable? All right, thank you.
All right, caller, thank you so much. Good morning.
Hey, Steve Khan.
Morning.
Rest of the fellas. Morning. Hey, check this. I think the thing with the SSA thing, with this idea of a coup and stuff, which in my head, I think is something around Christian nationalism. And I don't know if in some time in the future, y'all get somebody who could explore this thing about, because I see a lot of it coming up in, well, the U.S. Thing. We saw it in France, in the conservative, the far right thing and the far right. But behind the far right is always this thing of Christian nationalism. And I don't think people understand. So when they talk about a coup, I think they were misreading the lines of it in an idea of a Christian nationalist.
So can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
I keep asking people who I'm having this conversation with, when did the Prime Minister say the word coup that everybody running with?
Right. Okay. Yeah.
When?
Well, yeah.
When did the Prime Minister say the word coup? Maybe I missed it, but somebody could point me to when the Prime Minister said coup. I saw a newspaper report that the Prime Minister in Parliament stopped short of calling it a coup. But everybody talking about the Prime Minister and this coup, and I haven't seen the Prime Minister call it a coup,
Right. Now, Well, that is what is called the Mandela effect, right? Okay, so if it is now it there, now if it's there, we had to clarify it or not, or debunk that it was said.
The
But
Prime Minister said there were persons from a religious organization. I think he described this as a cult. Would that be right, Richard?
Yeah, it's a cult.
Cult.
yeah,
Covering extreme opinions and potentially seeking to usurp the authority of the executive, right? With in a militarized
When they say overthrow the government,
overthrow the government, right? Right. So yes, people
right.
may interpret that as akin to an attempted coup.
well, a conspiracy too.
Right. But
Well,
I don't think the Prime Minister, I saw the presentation, ever used the word coup, and everybody saying that the Prime Minister said that a coup.
well, coup or not, or whatever word was used, I think the idea of the cult and Christian nationalism is what. But I think a cult goes way on. I think Christian nationalism is a political kind of, construct in the idea of their faith or whoever faith, because we've seen it in different parts of the world, people who militarize their faith. And I think that needs explanation or clarity. And I don't know who inside this thing, if people doing research into that, because we have a lot of, Jamaica and Trinidad have by square feet, the amount of, um, you know, spiritual spaces. So at some point in time, some energy might go things. But I think in this modern time, around the western side of this place, even in Europe, and we've seen it around the globe, the rise of Christian nationalism, I've seen it all over social media, being touted and spoken about and highlighted. And so I think we need to have a
What do you
conversation.
mean? What do you mean by Christian nationalism? Just for clarity.
Well, Christian nationalism and the militarization of your faith, whatever faith you belong to, but Christian
All right.
nationalism with the Christian faith, and the militarization of it, and the militarization of it, and weaponization of it in the idea of the social and your community, and the violence that it brings within community and stuff. We've seen it in Ohio, people going up on people, shutting down libraries, uh, coming. The one librarian had to quit her job because they stand up on the thing to ban books. They had the weapons all loaded up and thing. And I'm hearing on people verbally creating kind of dialogue around, you know. So I think we either have to kind of have an understanding about something. I don't know who's the person we could draw on for that. I could look around. People have been doing the research, but I think it's an important thing that it has been rearing its head, especially the U.S. elections and things coming up with Trump and
This,
All right.
this
Thank you.
all right.
these issues with these FUs, it's amazing to me when I listen to people's perspective on it, how the lenses through which people view who right and who wrong and who wrong and who right and who's a hypocrite and who's not a hypocrite and who have character and who don't have character. It's absolutely astounding to me.
Good morning, caller.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Darling,
Mi amor.
I miss you last night, girl.
I've plenty more of that to get. Yes.
I don't like it, that cold breeze blowing here. I say, but where's Zena when I need her?
Your dog vacation, you everything now?
I'm waiting for you. I miss you. I miss you. I miss you. In the last one, I don't know what's going on. Like you pull out your dolly, girl.
Let me see what I have to say before Richard call me Miss Dora, whoever.
Yeah.
Dora the Explorer.
You know how it does annoy his ear when he went DL call and he loved that. Listen to me. Let's get back to the conversation you all were on before. I call up before this last one. He was right on point, and that is my sentiments exactly. I don't see that been any topic of discussion, Paul? He is the Minister of National Security. And what is the purpose? You're in a position that you can't ask whoever is the police commissioner for certain things concerning your safety. You are the Minister of National and so hated in this country from what I hear people going on with. What is the position? I want to agree with the caller before this last one that something has to be wrong with the person who is leaking all this. You hold high position. That come like it's some kind of espionage. Yeah. What is that? What kind of behavior is that? I said, Mr. Emery Brown, I heard him saying it in Parliament, and he used a nice word. Referring
You know what'll be interesting to find out with all this imbroglio? One, because a lot of the inquiries were about FULs, and to acquire an FUL, there's a particular process involved. If the process had been started before the inquiries were made, and if the FULs were actually granted or not.
And I'm saying that is of no consequence with when it concerning people of high office. And there was a certain judge that wrote, says I was certain, and he wrote to ask for protection from the police commissioner and all that. I don't see why things like this even have to come out. I can't understand. I can't understand the leaking of sensitive information for holding such a high post. That is why I am sure this country it have plenty people who could fit certain positions in this country that don't accept going into this kind of politics.
Somebody, I heard, I saw somebody post yesterday about whether or not.
No, I ain't finished, Steve.
Don't rush off, Zena. Like if you want to rush you off the phone,
don't rush off, Dean.
Don't rush off the phone.
Wavering all over the place. I am saying that this ought not to be going on, and the press have to stop this nonsense of putting that sort of foolishness on the out
so
there.
The press shouldn't report it. The press shouldn't report it.
Listen to me. I consider it nonsensical.
Okay, and you're entitled to your opinion. I want to ride you this morning because the weekend coming up.
No, listen to me. I saw articles on YouTube that's going worldwide. Things that happening in this Trinidad and Tobago here, and that I think should be of interest to the police, and that people should be interested people that this small Trinidad and Island state here, we have plenty crime happening in this country that needs attending to, and a lot of people that needs to be questioned for certain things, and that's not happening. I'm not hearing anything coming out and anybody being sought after and questioned. And things I reading on YouTube, that's gone worldwide. So to be nitpicking at that kind of foolishness, I consider that wasting
time. But in the political environment, everything becomes fodder. Come on.
Yeah, why? Why should it? Why should it? It looks like, this one saying a lot.
Because you're not being practical, because that's the nature of our politics.
I like the caller before the last.
I know you just say that. I know your perspective on everything. I know you when I'm voting.
You see, let us say I start to talk now about the side door.
Then I just talk about the side door, so you can't hold up on me.
What?
I just talk about the side door, so you can't. You ain't holding a secret from me. I just talk about the side door.
We have our jokes going on, and I mean that it's just jokes. But I am saying that, as Mr. Patrick said, you turned it off as something not being important. What Mr. Patrick say, right? Because if every man had to spill their past, history or the past.
So it should not. So it should not be discussed. These are non-issue we're talking about here.
All right. Well, everything I read there for the last few days is a non-issue.
All right. Thank you. I heard a conversation yesterday, and it's an interesting component dimension to the conversation. And the conversation was, there was a question asked in the conversation as to whether or not, well, Richard gone and Steve gone. So I'm talking to myself, well, I'm talking to your listeners now because they just abandoned me and gone. And whether or not this, and I don't know, so I'm asking the question, whether or not this can constitute a breach in confidentiality because of the office holders involved. See, I'm talking to myself, so I don't know. I wish somebody could press a button and bring a quarter in because everybody just disappear. If I disappear, like all this disappear.
God fire.
Do you think, Richard, this may constitute a breach in confidentiality?
I'm not sure. I mean,
that's what I'm not sure either.
I'm not sure. I mean, a breach of confidentiality assumes
it's official duties.
That it's some sort of official duty, and also that there's some contractual obligation for you to be confidential. If I'm looking at it from a legal point of view, usually you'll have to sign something. You know, like some agencies that you go into, you sign something saying.
And the question was asked because it's in a security context.
Well, if you're looking at, you mean just looking at it should be confidential.
I don't know. I don't know if it falls within the realm of official duties, or maybe it does, or maybe it doesn't, or maybe there's a gray area. I don't know. I'm really kind of ambivalent on it.
Whether you're confidential or not in whatever issue should be something that's clearly stated as your job description. That's how I look at it. That whatever is done here or whatever your duty is, there is an implied level of confidentiality, but it should be written somewhere. And that if you're in, because it can't have a duty to be confidential if there is no penalty if you're not.
Exactly. Or if there's no requirement in that context, in that particular
like for example,
context.
Attorneys, there you have client attorney privilege, but that's very much an established thing, and there are repercussions if a breach of that breach that confidentiality with their client.
I thought it was an interesting discussion. I said, okay, right, I'm not sure what the parameters of the situation are or will, but
so never done with it. It should be either a convention or certainly part of some contractual duty that is written somewhere that indicates that.
Well, it doesn't. None of the correspondences I have seen that purport to be conversations between the former commissioner and the three people involved now, the Prime Minister, the Minister of Energy, and the Minister of National Security, seemed to have been, or maybe I'm wrong, in an official request as opposed to a favor. Is that an incorrect interpretation?
But you mean favor or informal request?
Informal request. Let me use that's a better term. Yeah.
So, an informal request.
Yeah. It may not meet the bar for what is required in confidentiality. I don't know. I don't know the answer to the question, to be fair. But I thought an interesting dimension to be added to the conversation. I heard it. I said, okay. That's interesting. I didn't think about that. Anyway, you have papers?
I have the Guardian.
I have no question this morning yet in my head. So,
well, I saw, interestingly enough, the Guardian in the editorial this morning talked about the HSF. The state withdrew 160 million. Withdrew 160 million from the HSF in December of 2023, but it's only now coming to light. And the Guardian is posing the question. Well, they're not posing the question. The editorial really focuses on whether the state needs to be more transparent when they're using the agency, and then not come 6 months later and reveal that it was you.
Yeah, I think so too. I think from the time you're drawing down on that, it should be made public.
So basically, that's a possible question. I just saying.
Well, the another issue that has reared its head, that usually rears its head around this time of year, graduation, is a story that broke where two 16-year-old boys of the Harmon School SDA were allegedly dragged out of their school prom. We have prom in Trinidad now, no graduation no more. Because they contravened what seemed to be a rule about corn road plaited styles. And the parents of the two students told the Express they're looking at the legal options. And this is something that comes up over and over in Trinidad and Tobago, where one side of the conversation says, well, you know the rules. And if the rules say, do I no cornrow, do have it for boys. And the other side of the rule is it's an African type hairstyle, which should not be part of the rules because it's discriminatory in nature in its very nature, because it discriminates against an ethnic expression of hairstyle. And we keep going. Remember the bank situation decades ago with the dreadlocks? And the employee who was, what's the word? Came under some pressure because he had dreadlocks and the bank had to back down after a while. And whether or not schools should have, and the argument is that the school rule is a school rule, whether you agree with it or not. You understand? And you know the rules, so that could be a possible question this morning too. But whether schools should be disbarring cornrow hairstyles in this day and age, because the issue to me is not whether or not the boys should have been put out, because if the rule existed, the rule existed. But should the rule exist in the first place? You know, in this day and age,
yeah,
you know, should a rule like that exist in the first place in a school in a country like Trinidad, a multi-ethnic, multicultural school like Trinidad, a place like Trinidad and Tobago? Should that kind of rule be allowed to exist?
What is the reason for having that rule?
Exactly. What's so offensive about cornrows that the school has this rule about it and that's allowed to continue? That's my perspective on it. Anyway, that could be a potential question this morning. It's Thursday, 11th July. Let's start with the Express. Graduation hairstyles broke. Rules, boys dragged out of prom. A story by Elizabeth Williams. Parry officials face court in diver's death. Extra cops for Tobago. A positive thing, says the head of the Police Social and Welfare Association. New 18-meter center to ease water stress. 18 million, center. WASA's unveiled their new high-tech command center. We see how that goes. Reports of increased insect population in Meru. Cocaine and hair products. Police seize 4.5 million in drugs. Ride share driver missing. Vehicle abandoned. And fourth shooting victim dies. Give Dr. Soka ORTT. I think there's a new conversation about celebrated the Ranger Edwards who recently passed, and whether or not people are asking for him to be given Order Republic of Trinidad for his contribution for culture and the arts, Right, so that's the Express.
All right, so I can do the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian for this morning. And the headline that the Guardian went with, of course, just remind you that today is Thursday, July 11th, 2024. So the headline this morning on the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian, Hinds under fire. That's the headline the Guardian went with. Opposition accuses minister of lying, seeking to fast-track FULs for security detail. So that's the main headline in the Guardian. Sub-headlines, state to pay chutney slinger for COVID raid. Faizabad Bridge collapses, and the main picture is of that. Residents look on in despair at the 100-year-old bridge that collapsed at St. John's Branch Trace, Faizabad. See story on page 8. And one more subheadline, police back Tobago anti-crime plan. So all of that is on the front page of the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian, and on the back page, of the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian, in terms of sports, West Indies crash for 121. That's the back, and the main picture is that of West Indies. Craig Brathwaite is bowled out by England's Gus Atkinson on day one of the first Rothesay men's test match at Lord's Cricket Ground in London yesterday. He scored 6. And that's the main picture, and that's the main story on the back page of the Guardian. So that's it for the Guardian.
Let's move now to the Newsday. Union leader, police ready to go where needed. Cops back Tobago crime plan. Bridge collapse leaves 40 residents stranded in their homes. Prakash Dionarayan gets silk from Her Excellency the President. McClatchy, crime can throw back community development. WASA launches operational control center. Electrician charged with indecent assault on $75,000 bail. State settles COVID-19 lockdown party case. UNDP helps government strategize against human trafficking. Monilal, Tobago police plan is not the solution. Khadija Amin blasts government for dengue spread. AG seeks clarity on law for indictable cases in extraditions. Whistleblowers allege corruption in regional corporation. Blogger wants info. And youth MPs call for tougher laws to deal with sextortion. It was a wonderful all-female debate in Parliament on Tuesday. I had the honor to train them over the last couple of Saturdays in some aspects of research and stuff. And all-female debate on sextortion in the Parliament was really, really well. They really, really did well. So congratulations to them all. My potential questions this morning are, should there be rules debarring students from wearing cornrow styles in schools? 1, or do you see anything wrong with the Minister of National Security seeking favorable consideration, which I'll put in quotations, for his security to receive FULs from the Commissioner of Police?
I like that one.
Is the front page story and which one do you prefer, Richard?
Either one is fine.
I have no particular preference.
Yeah, either one is fine. I have no issue with either.
Choose. Well, Steve,
I like the Ministry of National Security because it's pretty relevant right now. But while you guys decide, let's get the results of our morning poll, where we asked you yesterday, do you expect the crime levels to be reduced following the National Security Council meeting in Tobago? That was our poll yesterday. The results are in. 83%, 83 said no, they don't. All right. So there you go. 83 said no. All right. Let's see if our poll is up. No, it's not. Okay.
I feel that's better for you if we're wrong. I'm sorry, don't kill me.
Don't kill him. Don't kill him. Just don't bring him breakfast. All right. So there's our poll.
So our poll this morning, do you think there is any issue with the Minister of National Security seeking favorable consideration for his security detail getting FULs from the Commissioner of Police? That's our poll this morning. It's right up on the screen so you can see it. So 222-TALK, 222-8255, North Americans, 866-525-1099. And of course, that's absolutely toll-free. People on the web and on streaming platforms, you can send your votes via the messaging portals on whatever streaming platform you are on. And of course, if you're watching us on television, good morning to you. On METV, you can send us WhatsApp messages at 868-318-1021.
All right. Let's grab some calls. Good morning. Oh, thank you, caller. Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, morning, gentlemen. To the question, I will say no, and I will just add, if the officer needs to apply for a firearm, he will normally do it like a private citizen, pull out the form, and it goes through the process. But the fact that you're a serving member and you're working with the minister, he will make a request to you to expedite. So it was, to me, yes, it was.
All right. So you say yes.
Question
All
of
right.
favor. Yeah.
Thank you. Good morning.
Did he say no?
Yes. He said yes. Good morning.
Hell no.
All righty. Thank you. Good morning. Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Morning. All righty. Thank you. Good morning. Caller, good morning. Go ahead. Yes or no?
Good morning. I said no.
All righty. Thank you. Let's see what we got on. Why is my mouse acting up this morning? Okay.
Kadeem, you're absolutely right. I agree with that. This issue with cornrow styles at this stage in our development in this country is ridiculous.
Good morning. A lot of messages, but I'm not seeing yes or no's. Here we go. Anthony Franco says yes. Brent Hackshaw says yes. Khadijah Khan Jr. Okay. Bisnath Basad, good morning. Anthony Tinto says no. Boy Bidesi says no. DL says yes. Lester Craigwell says no. Cheryl Henry, I say no. Captain Ron says no. Val says no. What says you, caller? Good morning.
No, Dr. Paul Richards, morning. I have a question.
Morning.
What's the purpose of taking an oath of office? What's the reason for taking that? Any question I want to ask, okay? Go on.
Okay. Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning, big guy.
Morning, Steve. I will say a big fat yes. And Steve, you like pepper your doubles?
Plenty.
All right.
I am a pepper mouth.
All right, just wanted to make sure. All right, take care.
All right. Good morning.
Good morning. My answer is yes.
Where are you right now? New Jersey?
Yes, still.
All right. Enjoy your trip.
Okay.
All righty. Take care. Good morning to Big E in Virginia. I got Jaron Joseph saying yes. I got Lenny James saying no. Let's see what else we have here. Finbar Collins says no. Rena Buru Jennings says no. Michael Robinson in Japan says yes. Carl M. Jack says yes. Julia S. Batiste says yes. Beauty Culture says no. David Ware says, but isn't that updating the school rules on the ministry on hairstyle? No to the poll, David Ware says. All right. Do you think there is an issue with the Minister of National Security seeking favorable consideration for his security detail getting firearms users license from the Commissioner of Police? Yes or no?
That's our poll. 222 Talk, 222-8255. North Americans, 866-525-1099. Send your votes via WhatsApp to 318-1021 or the messaging portals on streaming platforms.
Yeah. All right. Got some other votes here. Let's see. Vianney Warwood says no. Sherma Paul says no. Ronald Pierce says no. Jess Archer Kennedy says yes. Angela Collier Lewis, yes. Cynthia Aaron, yes. Pearl Corder says no. Mrs. R says no. Right. Yeah, I got your vote already. Paul. Good morning.
Good morning. I know you want me to answer yes or no, but I listened to Gary Griffith recently did an interview, He said that he don't see a problem, especially if the application was already, started because of the backlog or whatever. So I would say no, but I can understand why people might say yes because of ethics, So me being in the medical field, if we are doing a heart transplant, a heart transplant, and somebody come and ask us a favor to bump somebody off, I could understand people might be getting upset of that. You know what I'm saying? So I would say no, but I can understand why people say yes.
All right. Thank you so much. Where are you calling us from?
Atlanta, Georgia.
Thank you, dear. Have a good one.
Thank you.
All right. Quickly, Arno says no. Lennon Roberts says no. And quickly again, Kathy Ann says no. Karen says yes. Central Animal Lover says no to the poll. All right. Gentlemen, it's time to get into our major news on this Thursday, 11th day of July. Evie is in.
This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
Police Social Welfare Association supports hard target against criminals in Tobago. The opposition calls on government to be more proactive in the fight against dengue. Concerns raised over HSF withdrawal of US $160.3 million, and TNT gets over US $300,000 from Caribbean Catastrophe Risk Insurance Facility for the impacts of Beryl on Tobago. Details in a moment. 7 o'clock on Power 102 Digital. I'm Avril Sintel Bob. Good morning. The Trinidad and Tobago Police Service Social and Welfare Association is throwing its support behind the government's plan to make Tobago a hard target against criminal elements on the island. It believes the increase of officers in Tobago would be beneficial to the island in treating with the recent increase in violent crimes. Tobago's murder toll for 2024 rose to 16, with a quadruple murder on Monday. For all of 2023, the figure was 14. According to an Express newspaper article this morning, head of the association, ASP Gideon Dixon, said the move announced by the Prime Minister to supplement Tobago's police force with officers from Trinidad was an important step forward. However, he said a lot is still needed. He said the impacts of criminal elements does not only affect the death toll and cause immense grief, but it also impacts the livelihood of those on the island. He maintained that a holistic approach is needed to treat with the issue. He also disclosed that crime and criminality would also affect tourism on the island, where visitors come to rest, relax, and vacation with friends and family. He said tourists would stay away in the face of increasing crime, and that would impact the island's ability to generate revenue, as many persons are employed in the tourism industry. The opposition UNC is calling on the government to be more proactive when it comes to addressing issues relating to the fight against dengue. St. Augustine Member of Parliament Khadija Amin, at a news briefing on Wednesday, said there should be better teamwork and management of human resources, vehicles, equipment, and chemicals to tackle the problem. MP Amin said the blame game cannot be put forward on this issue.
We also have a breakdown because the health agencies are not sharing as much information as they should with the regional corporations who are supposed, and that is supposed to help to guide them in their approach to combating dengue.
Meanwhile, former Health Minister Dr. Fuad Khan told the Power Breakfast Show on Wednesday there needs to be more insect vector control officers going house to house to ensure there are no mosquito breeding grounds. 3 weeks ago, this country recorded 190 lab-confirmed cases. However, according to Health Minister Terence Deyalsingh, as of Monday, there was 229 lab-confirmed cases, indicating a sharp increase in the numbers thus far.
Only when rain comes and mosquitoes start to bite and infections start to take place, everybody throws their hand up in the air and said, oh God, I'm going to find this one, I'm going to do this one, I'm going to do that one. And then it dies when, When 2 people die from dengue hemorrhagic fever, we should have been expecting dengue hemorrhagic fever because it has cycles of every 3 to 4 years. We did not have it for 2 to 3 years, but it's going to be a cycle. It's going to be a increase this certain times. You have to act proactively. Now, I was talking to one of my colleagues, and they were saying that Shagonas don't have any defoggers. None. So at the end of the day, they can't defog anywhere and kill no mosquitoes in stagnant water, in lands, etc. Now, didn't they know that before?
Member of Parliament for Mayaro Rushton Parry claims the recent withdrawal of US $160.38 million from the Heritage and Stabilization Fund by the government should sound alarm bells across our nation. In a voice note, MP Parry suggested there be caution and care demonstrated not to deplete the national savings and ensure proper fiscal management.
Speculation suggests that this withdrawal may be intended to cover public sector salaries, highlighting a dire cash flow crisis. Continuously tapping into the HSF during non-crisis periods is not only unsustainable, it is imperative that the government provides full transparency regarding the use of these funds and the urgent need for a robust plan to address the underlying economic issues without further depleting our national reserves.
The government of Trinidad and Tobago will receive US $372,752 for the impacts of Hurricane Beryl on Tobago. This was revealed by the Caribbean Catastrophe Risk Insurance Facility. The government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines will receive US $1.8 million. Payouts will also be made to the government of Grenada, totaling about US $44 million following the passage of Hurricane Beryl, which totally devastated 90% of all buildings, the airports, marinas, gas stations, the hospital, and homes on the islands of Carriacou and Petit Martinique. It is a risk pooling facility with 16 Caribbean members. It is designed to limit the financial impact of catastrophic hurricanes and earthquakes to Caribbean governments by quickly providing short-term insurance payouts when a policy is triggered. You are listening to news on Power 102 Digital to 7 o'clock. Media reports say a bridge at St. John's Branch Trace, Faizabad, collapsed, affecting 40 residents. MP for Faizabad, Dr. Lakram Bodo, is calling for this to be treated as a disaster and for a temporary Bailey Bridge to be installed in the shortest possible time to bring urgent relief for the marooned residents, pending a more permanent solution. Well, finally, here is weather news for the period today till midnight. Trinidad and Tobago initially sunny, hazy, and breezy at times, with a few showers developing by late morning. There is a medium chance of isolated showers or thunderstorms favoring the early afternoon over Trinidad. Partly cloudy night with a few showers, one or two becoming moderate to heavy at times. Gusts and street or flash flooding are possible near heavy downpours. You can expect a temperature of 33 degrees Celsius at Piarco International Airport and 32 degrees Celsius at Crown Point in Tobago. Currently, it's 26 degrees Celsius at Piarco and 27 degrees Celsius at Crown Point. Recapping your headlines to 7 o'clock. Police Social Welfare Association supports targets against criminals in Tobago. The opposition calls on government to be more proactive in the fight against dengue. Concerns raised over HSF withdrawal of US $160.3 million, and TNT gets over $300,000 US from Caribbean Catastrophe Risk Insurance Facility for the impacts of Beryl on Tobago. Well, that was news to 7 o'clock on Power 102 Digital. There is more news in detail at 12 noon and an update at 8 o'clock this morning. For more details, log on to power102fm.com.
Up to date and credible. Power 102 Digital.
All righty. Thank you, Evie. Oh, yep. She asked me a question. I didn't know how to answer it. Yes, I really didn't know how to answer them. Anyway, thank you, Avi, for our major news. You can join her again at 8 o'clock for our news brief. Quickly get into traffic and see what's happening there. There was an issue this morning in Party Bus route in St. Augustine, right by Massey Stores. Someone got down. I hope everything is okay. So that is creating a little traffic in the middle of the road. So expect some delays in that vicinity. Traffic-wise, it's heavier today than yesterday from Trinity City to UE. But after UE, you're clear sailing to after Barataria. A little slow going by the interchange. Eastern Main Road to Tacarigua, by Arima Old Road, actually. And that intersection is pretty heavy. Congestion heading through Tacarigua to St. Joseph, and not too bad out towards Port of Spain. Chase Village, you've got some. And that's pretty much what I've got traffic-wise, all right? Okay, so let's see if we have any more votes. Let's see. Cohen Duke says, I don't know if Richard is there. Richard, are you there? Because I'll say it, and then he'll say, any more votes, Steve?
No, I'm here.
Okay, so Cohen Duke says no. Adri says yes. Okay, that's that. On WhatsApp, Mr. Seawing says no to the poll. All right, so that's what we got so far. Oh, Jared Garcia says yes. Right, that's it. Of course, our poll is going to be on our app and on our website until tomorrow morning, which will be Friday. Yay. All right, results then, my friend. Okay. Adri is telling me that traffic may be a bit heavy in the Macoya area because TIC 2024 begins today till Saturday. That is so true. That road's going to be a bit busy. All right. Results, Richie Rich.
He's calculating.
Oh.
No, sorry. I said I'm supposed to go to that, actually. I registered to go to that.
Oh,
anyway, so our poll this morning, do you think there is any issue with the Minister of National Security seeking favorable consideration for his security detail getting FULs from the Commissioner of Police? We had 41 people voting on the poll this morning, and of the 41 people voting, 25 of you said no, you do not think there is any issue, and 16 of you said yes, you think there is an issue. So 16 people said yes, 25 people said no. So of course you can continue to vote on this poll. You can continue to vote on this poll throughout the day, through all programming, and we'll give you the final result tomorrow morning, which will be Friday, because the weekend begins tonight, people, at a second after midnight. Of course, I'm just reminding people that theaters on this weekend, on Sunday, at Napa, with Love is a Walk. And of course, tickets are available at the Napa box office.
Come in.
From 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. daily. And of course, tickets are also available at K Squared Fashions, East Gates in Trinity, K Squared Fashions, Brentwood Mall, Chabonas, and K Squared Fashions in West Mall.
What time is the show, Richard?
What's that?
What time is the show Sunday?
6:30.
Okay.
So at Napa.
Okay, just making sure.
And where you get tickets?
Also available at Electronics in Arima. However, Electronics in Arima has sold out their general tickets. They just have reserved tickets at this point. So we'll be seeing if we could get some more general tickets to them. Of course, you have tickets at $200 and $250.
I could come with Connor. Yes, sir.
So, well, if you're coming, we're stopping you. But
so we have to grow here first.
Because we know it will be a wig.
A weave.
But
he'll tie it on his eyebrows and comb it back.
Yeah, tickets also available at Anthony's Florals in Valpark Shopping Plaza and Jabili Rawi in Tunapuna, and of course Sharpley Auto Services in where? Sharpley.
What? Let me tell you what. If I could say pisses me off without Tad getting hyper.
Sure, go ahead, man.
About this in this day and age about this cornrow thing. And I understand rules are rules, but the rules shouldn't be there in the first place. And months ago, there was a similar controversy, and the Minister of Education then made a public statement saying that the ministry had evolved its or updated its guidelines on hairstyles. Remember that?
Yes.
Yes.
To include a more inclusive approach to diversity in Trinidad and Tobago. And here it is, you have a school in this country with a rule telling young men who seem to be of African descent that they can't wear a hairstyle that is in alignment with their identity, which is so damn ridiculous, it's funny. Ridiculous. Oh yeah, more thing to study than the hairstyle, you know. Just saying.
Mm-hmm.
In this day and age. Okay? Ridiculous. And as if a school is still doing that, I am sorry. They should be getting no funding from the education ministry from the state. If you want to go down that road on your own dime, that is your business. It should not be allowed in a country like this. So tell me what is so offensive about cornrows, which is an African originated hairstyle. Tell me what's wrong with it. Tell me, you school, tell me why a cornrow hairstyle is so offensive. Really? I'm not even getting into the conversation about whether or not the boys broke the rule. The rule is the rule. I have no problem with that. But the rule shouldn't be there in the first place. It's disgusting.
Yeah. The Ministry of Health and Education, has said that you're not supposed to pay for registration when you go to register your student, your son or daughter for school. But somebody I know went to register and they had to pay $1,500 because of this and that and PE and this and that. And I said, wait, boy.
But schools do struggle with funding.
Mm-hmm.
They do.
Yeah.
But I agree with you, Paul. I can't understand what the reason would be that you would have a rule like that.
It's a colonial,
I'm trying to think
ancient, archaic mindset that speaks to a stereotypical approach, perspective on African hairstyles. That's what it is.
No, but I'm talking about coming from the very national issue of when it took place at the school in Trinidad, and there was an iconic photograph of all of the boys outside of the school looking through the window, and you're seeing the back of their heads, which was kind of iconic photograph at that point in time that reflected that story. The country debated that story, for days. Why? And the ministry, to the point that the Ministry of Education weighed in on the issue, and there was a whole adjusting of
exactly. No, some people find African hairstyles for party alone.
So I'm not understanding.
Somebody says that it's a school, not a dance hall. So apparently, an African hairstyle is only for a party. Really, people have that mindset in Trinidad and Tobago in this day and age.
I'm still not understanding how the school still had that rule, because it doesn't seem in alignment with what the Ministry of Education would have indicated out of that last issue. So I'm a little confused. I don't know if somebody
I ain't confused. I don't know exactly where it's coming from. Open the phone lines.
All right, yeah. So let's take some calls. 222-8255, toll-free North Americans. 2 issues we're dealing with this morning. Good morning, caller.
Yes, good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Well, I am quite in agreement with the rules, not to be broken. And as Paul said, the rules shouldn't be there in the first place. But I know in the military and the police service and the cadet force, and there are rules like that. You cannot go in the army with cane rope. Could you? I don't know if that changed. I'm asking, could you go for training in the army with cane rope or long hairstyle or plait or whatever? I'm not sure. I'm asking.
I mean, I don't know. I assume I assume not, because you see army they always have short
I think that is protocol.
Well, right. So that could be the school protocol too. You know, I don't know. I just asking because it can be good for one and not good for the other. I mean, discipline, and I know why they do it in the army and the police and so on, because for cadets, discipline. You know, that is
so wearing a cornrow hairstyle speaks to an indisciplined child because he has hairstyle is cornrow.
I don't think it's a cornrow hairstyle. It's come like some schools say you must wear black shoes.
All white.
Come with a white shoe.
The analogy is lost on me because this is a cultural expression.
I understand.
It's a school.
Yeah, I understand all that. But
It's a school.
That's an important part of it too, and you know, probably they should go back to the national consensus again, because I know there was discussion on that.
There's no need to do that. The ministry is already ruled.
Okay.
Yeah.
The ministry has already updated its policy and made a public statement on it. There's no need to go back to the discussion and go back to national discussion on it. It is discriminatory. It is discriminatory.
It's discriminatory in the school, so it's not discriminatory in the police service and the army and the coast.
And you know, the military and paramilitary losing cases where that is concerned. They lost a case with a Muslim man with a beard the other day. You know that, right?
I know. And then after the bank, they had the guy with the
You're losing those cases too, eh?
Lose the case too. Republic Bank lost the case also. The
exactly.
In Republic, you know, but I don't know. I think, you know, these young men, if you have a rule, I think you should follow the rules of that institution.
Right. I have no problem with that, as I said. But the rule shouldn't be there in the first place.
All right. Okay.
The rule is discriminatory.
All right. I hear you.
All right, thank you. All right, thank you. Lots of calls. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Gentlemen.
Hi, morning.
Paul, I know your word has a lot of weight, and I'm glad.
Not in the least bit. No, none.
Let me finish, please, Paul. I'm glad that you brought up this topic, because several times you asked certain questions in this country. I have seen it right here in the last year. And things changed dramatically. Things just did a 180.
And I get in trouble too.
You bring up this topic. Well, your background, you could take that.
You find so?
My point is this: did these gentlemen here grow in the last 6 months? They most likely was going to school for the 5 or 7 years that they were going to school with cornrows in their head. They were seen by the dean, by the principal, by the teachers with cornrows in their head. But the school, no doubt, took whatever financial contributions they had to pay for whatever tuition, whatever thing they had to do, if there is that. But on the last day, graduation days, when all of a sudden everybody light come on to enforce exactly what you said there, you take the wind out of my sails, to enforce this colonial rule
backward
implemented on African people.
Backward.
Right? To implement it on only African people. And I want to tell that other caller something. The short hair that is implemented in an army is implemented for East Indians, for Africans, for everybody. Everybody must have short hair. But this rule only affects African people. We must understand.
I don't know that it only affects, because maybe if somebody of East Indians had cornrow, they may have stopped them also. So I don't know that may be true.
We have never tested that theory, but Indian people don't normally wear cornrows.
That is not necessarily true.
On the majority, Paul, Indian people don't wear cornrows, especially at school level.
I ain't getting into that argument.
I'm not getting into that at all.
But I'm glad that you raised this issue. I'm disappointed that you all didn't choose it for the poll question. But on reference to the poll question, Ministers just ask, guess what? Ministers just ask, call the housing minister and say, hey, my secret, 2 people are my security detail renting. You know, you don't hear a housing minister come out and say the minister call and ask for house. There's a certain level of confidentiality when a minister asks another minister for something for somebody. They asking for it for their mother or their brother or their sister. Is the security detail. You can't be living so close to God and can't get a house or can't get a personal FUL. When I did security details, I had 3 weapons in my house. My pistol, my UMP, and my MP5 in my house. State-issued weapons. Right? Because then my minister could call and say, hey, I go in here today, come and pick me up. So you mean to tell me...
But you know, Lincoln, that's why it's shocking to me, because I know people who are security detail for high-profile, people considered high-risk positions, Prime Minister, Minister of National Security, etc., Attorney General, can be called at a moment's notice where you go to the office, pick up the weapon, and then go to pick up the minister.
That's my point. That is my point. I had 3 state...
I don't understand that. I just don't understand that.
You telling me I could get issued 3 state weapons from the military and I can't get a personal weapon to protect myself and my family? It is asinine. So to ask the minister, the commissioner, hey, my security detail don't have a FUL. Could you facilitate him? Could you look at the not even to bend news, because they have to go through the same procedure as everybody else. They have to do a site evaluation. You have to do. You have to meet me. Well, of course, if you're
there are prerequisites for obtaining any FUL, and if you have passed the bar, being a member of the security services in your work, there should be no issue to me unless there's some mitigating circumstance. Maybe your spouse doesn't want it in the house, you know, etc., etc. I understand that, but it shouldn't be prohibited carte blanche to me if your job requires it. That's my opinion.
Correct. Right?
All right.
So that is my contribution for this morning. Thank you very much.
All right, buddy. Thank you. Good morning, caller. Hello.
Good morning, Steve.
Good morning.
Good morning to Dr. Paul and good morning to Richard.
Good morning.
You are. Good morning. So I want to find out something. Was Gary Griffith Commissioner of Police when Mr. Hines was named Minister of National Security? Because I remember when did we reshuffle, when Dr. Rowley did reshuffle, Gary wasn't the COP and Stuart Young was the center in that ministry, I think energy.
No, I think in the last part of Mr. Griffith's tenure, the Minister Hines was the Minister of National Security.
The study minister. Okay. So, in my opinion, in this case, I wouldn't see a problem with this because it's your security detail, and you don't need an unarmed person, so because you could walk with anybody or could go by yourself. So I think in a case like this, I don't see a problem with it, and because the thing is Gary Griffith. Well, he said he did not. What do you call it? Leak these things. Well, that's a joke. But somehow or the other, some other pipe leak it. Some other leak somewhere. But the thing
I think
is,
he also said, to be fair, that the request didn't influence the, and I can stand corrected, the process, because the process was already entrained. The applications were already in, and it didn't compromise the process. I think I heard an interview with him saying that, you know.
Okay. Right. So if that is the case, why is it that these things coming out now?
I mean, come on. Why? Because today's Thursday.
But it sounds so petty. It sounds childish.
But it's politics.
You can't trust somebody with something. I mean, if you know it wasn't an issue because it was already in train, why? Why not?
That is why Zina and I have NDAs in our messages to each other's legal documents.
And my other thing is with the hairstyles. When I go to pick up my nephew from a school, predominantly East Indian school, and there are a lot of boys, well, since my son was attending that school anyway, you know, those of another ethnic group
Caller, let me read a message here for you. That really, I mean, I just don't know how to say
Let her
it.
finish her statement now.
But it will help her finish her statement.
Oh, you know this.
All right, go ahead.
There seems, while nothing may seem wrong with the hairstyle, it is identified with a lot of undesirable behavior. Allowing this can open the floodgates to indiscipline. So African origin hairstyle is bad behavior. Is bad people.
It's bad behavior.
It's
And
bad
whoever sent
people.
that message, they're
I'm
not
very comfortable with them statements. Look,
So, Paul, these young men have, I never know that, long ago, you just cut your hair short and so on, East Indians, that is. Now they have a hair I ask them some, I say, what, they have a nest? Because a lot of the boys have a full head of hair, full head of hair, And even my nephew and all, can say, his hair doesn't cut until the end of the start of the new term. A big set of hair on his head, So what is wrong with that? Some of them may plait it. One or two, I saw them plait it. But what is the issue? Every year is the same thing. What is running, Melissa? They just say one thing, and then the schools and principals do something else. So, who's in charge? I find that is overbearing now, and it's time we get rid of that nonsense. You all have a good day.
Thank you. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Good morning.
I want to commend the police officers for the good job in retrieving those drugs camouflaged as hair products. I want to commend them for the good job they did.
Yep, true. That's a good job. Yeah, you're right.
Yes,
good job. And they obviously operated on some level of intelligence about what was going on.
We need
Very
to
much
see
so, yes.
more of that, officers. Now, yes, remember last week I told you all about cars going up on the boat to Tobago and it's not being searched?
You did?
Martin George repeated just what I said. He is saying, imagine they're scanning you. Well, of course, that is when you're coming through Piaco, right? He said, but cars coming up could bring in all kind of guns, drugs, ammunition, and they coming in free shit. And I'm saying, I don't know why Tobago surprised what they getting now. All you open the floodgates. All you think them criminal, them one step ahead of y'all. So they could put up, I could imagine guns all over Tobago. They know, look now, we joke here, I just keep saying, Elon Francis need to rewrite that calypso. We not mighty anymore. We jokey with these kind of nonsense going on. Come on, man. This is unbelievable. Look, and Richard, does it take so long for a court, a case that was appealed to finish? I am reading on the Newsday yesterday where there was a libel lawsuit. Junior Sammy brought it against two talk show hosts. That was since 2016. Frank Siposad made his judgment. They appealed it, and the judgment just came out where, they lost the appeal this month, and I'm saying 26. Listen, we need to bring in the foreigners, because something ain't going right. Is the judiciary? Is the police service? We need help. Tell you, SOS. What the hell? My God, anyway, Paul, thank God you scrutinize your callers and you watch the chat. Well, when Wendell is there, he looks at it too, because Lord have mercy, all you could get a lawsuit. And, big Richard, you could remember when Gladiator had sued two talk show hosts at Power 102?
Yeah, he had sued.
No, I'm not looking.
No, he didn't sue anybody on 102. I think
it's not here.
Oh, wasn't you all right?
No.
I'm mixing it up. Was the other station? Yes, more. Well, the same. I said, but wait. Oh, you it's twice as a talk show host you getting so boy? Nah, crazy. Paul, you keep up the good work and make sure your callers don't go overboard, because Lord have mercy, you could be answering charges. Have a blessed day, y'all.
And some good news, Wodemeyer, the Ghanaian YouTuber released a video, I think about a couple of days ago, titled on YouTube, Trinidad and Tobago You Don't See on TV. I think that was the subtitle of the title of the video. The Trinidad and Tobago You Don't See on TV. What a beautiful video on the beauty that Trinidad and Tobago is. If you have not watched that video, it is a video that just highlights how beautiful Trinidad and Tobago is. Also, it obviously seems to have been done in tandem with Tourism Trinidad. That's my sense of it, because you have Carla Cupid, I think it's Carla Cupid, who is the CEO of Trinidad Tourism.
She was.
She was.
Mm-hmm.
And she features in it. And it seems obviously to have been done in tandem with Trinidad and Tobago. Well, Tourism Trinidad, I know they separated them. But it's a really beautiful YouTube video that showcases Trinidad in all of its beauty and interviewing people and doing different locations and talking sometimes of the history of certain areas and spots and stuff like that. So if you haven't watched that video, it's a good video to watch.
Okay.
It doesn't show anything negative at all. It just shows the positives.
Okay. Say the name of it on YouTube. Trinidad and Tobago, what you don't see on
Trinidad and
TV.
Tobago you don't see on TV.
Right. Good morning, caller.
Morning, Steve. How you doing? Morning,
bad at
Paul.
all.
Morning, Richard.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Wendell, wherever he is. Firstly, I vote no to the poll, right? Because, I mean, my national security minister, only common sense, right? Secondly, with this with the cornrow in school, this thing is so, I don't even know the word to use, but I would say racist. Sorry to say. I would say racist. It is so racist, right? I mean, in this day and age, right? Now, my wife is an Indian, my daughter is Douglas, and my wife wears cornrows at times, right? But the thing about it is, as Paul mentioned, it is identifiable to African people, right? It's an African hairstyle, right? And I saw, just as a caller said earlier, they didn't take these. I saw the children had cornrows leading up to the graduation, the last days of school. I saw they had long hair, right, leading up to the last days of school. So you telling me the teachers, the authorities, that it was not an issue for the years, right? The thing about it is they had the 7 years or the 5 years. If they wanted to, if they so desired to deal with it, why wait until the children pay for graduation and the parents spend all this extra money and for the children to come out for the last day for graduation, right? To stop this thing, to put out these students. Why? Is it that they're so racist? Is it that race is so prevalent in this country? Racism, sorry, is so prevalent in this country, and they just choose to hide it until it's disgusting.
Uglies eventually come out,
Well,
you can only hide ugly for so long,
No lie. As the Bible, going back to the Bible, whatever you do in the darkness has come to light.
You know Richard here, right?
Oh, let me put in a plug. If you don't mind, let me put in a plug. Check out our Caribbean flavors food at the TIC. You will have
I will pass because I am going to TIC every time. Anytime they have that exhibition, I always say I'm going to go, and I always end up being in some play, and I'm in rehearsals, and I don't get to go.
Well,
So
I will be there from 2:00 this evening, and on Saturday I will be there from 10 to about 4.
Yeah, so I'm going to pass today or tomorrow.
Have some of our new flavors in the movie, vanilla chai and power infusion. The power infusion have things like holy goat weed and babwande and so on.
Your boy don't having to pay for this now, right?
Oh, good. Let me go.
All right, Oliver, all the best.
Gentlemen.
Thank you. Good morning. Good morning, caller.
Yeah, morning.
Morning.
Gentlemen. Steve, Paul, Richard, and
Morning.
Wendell, wherever he is.
We don't know.
You know what is so disturbing about that story? Because I posted about it on Facebook, yes? The story with the hairstyle. Right? And Paul, you were so correct in how you described it this morning because there was a policy positioned by the ministry. So why this now? But you know what was even more disturbing? The fact that they said that the young men were manhandled. They were taken out of the graduation hall by people. I mean, you can't get more disgusting than that. They weren't asked to leave, they were held and escorted out of that graduation. Something wrong with Trinidad and Tobago,
Somebody feel good after that.
Yeah, it's sickening, man, and people trying to justify.
And somebody posted, this is Harmon's SDA. It's 98% African, so with 90% teaching population. I specifically didn't use the word racism. I used the word discrimination for a reason. It was discriminatory.
Yeah, and I mean, we really shouldn't be having these kind of discussions in this day and age, but guess what? We do. I just want to touch quickly. Richard just said excellent work by the police, fine. And it must have come with some sort of intelligence, and we catch a driver alone. Did he just? This can't be serious.
They cannot drive alone for now. We don't know what the intelligence is.
Huh? Sorry?
I say, well, they got a driver alone for now, but we don't know where the intelligence will lead. The driver must have information.
Yeah.
I didn't want the troops.
All the others in the past where they went into the forest and get a whole cache of guns. Remember that? Guns just rest down in the forest and nobody. It's still waiting on the intelligence because they said that was intelligence driven, not so? So maybe they arrest people and people locked up on charge and we don't know. Maybe they haven't been telling us, but we'll never know.
Or maybe some people unchargeable.
Could be that. The other issue I wanted to touch on was, of course, the one with Minister Hines asking. I don't know that any Minister of National Security and UNC People's Partnership had 5 during their term could say they didn't ask for something for somebody. Why are we so hypocritical in this damn place? Lincoln made a very good contribution because ministers of housing would have been asked for requests for soldiers and for police who live in certain areas to assist them in housing. It's allowed, 10% is allowed for people in the military and so on in the housing ministry. What is the big deal about asking for what is the status of a FUL license for your security detail? Why are we being such hypocrites to these things? It's because it's Minister Hines that they don't like him. My only problem with Minister Hines is that he didn't admit that he did, because he say he didn't. Why? Just say you did. What's wrong with that? Oh, God. Anyway, tomorrow, please, God.
Yeah. Any caller, could you tell me, have you seen Wendell anywhere?
He did. He just had a cup of coffee and he's getting ready to go down south.
You're heading down south. Take your time on the road. I'll let you know that England at 277 for 5. They lead by 156 runs.
Okay, 2. Thanks.
That's cricket now.
Yeah. Okay. Good morning.
Hey, morning, guys.
Good morning.
Morning, Bernadette.
Hey, take your time.
Oh, there's no Bernadette.
Time.
Sorry.
Don't let me go down that road.
Oh, sorry.
Good morning, honey.
Morning.
I'm waiting on Richard. Anyhow, is Rich there? Rich? Oh, he's not there.
He by Bernadette.
Please stop it. I have a question for Rich on a serious note.
He just went off for a second.
I wanted to speak with Rich because I wanted to ask Rich exactly what if it is now I am kind of in between this kind of corners thing, right? So, but my thing is, what if at the end of the day, the young men who are going to school with their hair open out, but pat down in a kind of way so that, it looks maybe you have like a kind of what you call an Afro kind of hairstyle. And, is that school firstly a private school? Because, private schools have different rules. So my thing is, if you guys are going to school with their hair pat down like that, and then for graduation, all the time, of course, because everybody asking questions. So all the time the hair was growing, the teacher didn't know that, the principal didn't know that. Okay, agreed, the hair was passed down, but it wasn't looking, this kind of way. So now, for graduation, of course, they want to graduate in fine style with heart and line going down the middle and thing. Maybe that is what these schools did not appreciate, because they said no cornrows. So growing your hair is not a problem going to school if it's neatly attired. Kind of maybe smallish afros, but this kind of fancy hairstyle, if those are their rules and they didn't want that, then, granted, maybe they could have, and I agree to a point, they could definitely make an excuse and let them graduate, but then you make an excuse once, they kind of, going against what they stand for. So that's my thing. But I wanted to put a question to Rich to hear what Rich's point was.
Let me see if I can get him for you. Richard, you there?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Oh, there he is.
Oh, Richie, morning, sugar.
Morning.
Morning. So, did you hear my point? I had a point that I was thinking of just now. Did you hear my point?
Considering which thing?
The one with the hairstyle. So I was just telling Steve and them, right? Everybody whole thing is the boys were going to school with long hair, so they didn't see the hair was long and yada yada. Okay, agreed. The teacher saw a young man coming to school with a smallish afro, because sometimes the African hair, when it is open out, you can pass it down and it will look much shorter than if, of course, you take time to go by the hairdresser and you plait it up now, because the hair does shrink. So what if maybe going to school, they just were young men going to school with their hair neatly pat down, and on the said day for graduation, of course, they want to graduate in style and slam, and typical young people, you want to look at and stuff, and you decide now you want to put heart and line going through your hair, and the principal was like, what? This is not what we stand for. So they decided, no, that is not the case. What do you think about that perspective?
Well, I don't think I am always against anything that.
You
hear me?
All right.
Okay. Yeah. I'm against anything that's discriminatory, and on the face of it, it's discriminatory. And if you have those kinds of, and I'm not, what I am not understanding is that this is like braided hair part 2, because we went through that last year. The Ministry of Education made a pronouncement. So the Ministry of Education has their rules too. So if the Ministry of Education made rules, then the school should be aligning with those rules. And if those rules indicate that those hairstyles are acceptable, and that there's no discrimination allowed, because I think they expanded the list of acceptable hairstyles, or however they phrased it in what the Ministry of Education did, then the school needs to align with that. So I am confused as to how the school is an outlier with regard to that. But on the face of it, on the basis of it, I'm against anything that's discriminatory. I understand schools will have rules, because I went through a school where you had to wear black shoes. We didn't even have an option. At the time I went to school, you had only to wear black shoes. That's it. If you came without black, it's on you. So I understand rules, even though, of course, a shoe is different to something like a hairstyle. But anything that's discriminatory, I think it's fine for a country to debate those issues, because that's how a country evolves, in making sure that the space becomes a better space. So there will be people with different points of views on issues. I get that. My personal perspective is that I don't like anything that's discriminatory. And you live in a time now where a lot of young people have their hair kind of very full and out. A lot of times you see that. That's like a hairstyle now.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand it's a different and it's a generational thing. So should schools, they have to still accord whatever the school rules are as dictated by the Ministry of Education. But things that are discriminatory, I will always side on, is this discriminatory? And if it is, no, it should not be allowed. Discrimination should not be allowed. That's how I look at, that's the lens through which I see it. But these kind of conversations need to happen to make Trinidad and Tobago a better space.
Yeah. All right, let's grab some calls. Lots of calls. Good morning.
Good morning. Well, Richard, I'm glad that you said that. Because, these, if you don't comb African hair, it looks unkept, right? And I see some young people, those on the block, I see them doing a style now where they just pointing it up.
If you don't comb any hair, it looks unkempt.
You're right, but African looks different to the rest.
And why is that? Because we socialize to believe that.
Yes, you're correct about that, Paul. There's some youths on the block, you see them like they keep their hair like spikes. I wonder if that would have been more appropriate than the cornrows.
You see, when people start talking about appropriate and neat, I just get very worried.
Yes, and I'm just raising the conversation to know so they can understand.
Because neat to you might be neat to me.
Be careful what you ask for, because there would be somebody to test the system
neat
and come with the hair spike out like that, and you tell me no cornrows, you didn't say no spikes. And you know why we continue to have this problem? Because this morning there is not the what the equivalent of the NAACP. I don't know what is the thing for it in Trinidad, what Catherine Cambon does run and whatever. They're not in front of that school, and not just them, but we not in front of that school protesting this morning.
Isn't it interesting with days before Emancipation Day? Isn't that interesting?
Yes.
With days before Emancipation Day.
Every year?
Sorry, African Emancipation Day.
Because that school not shut down this morning. But I want to raise two other points. One, could you imagine if that was we looking at that and we justifying that reason? I want you to imagine that a school tell a child you can't wear your hijab to study for their graduation. All of a sudden we would be.
We went through that already too.
That has been before the court system.
Yeah. Right? The other point I want to raise, Paul and gentlemen, I don't know if you all remember when I lobbied for the song, to be used as a tool to as a campaign tool. I see that the Ministry of National Security has hired these 4 singers and now made the song a campaign, and they are launching some kind of program called the Call to Order or something like that. And I want to compliment the Ministry of National Security. It is long overdue. But as I say, better late than never. So I'm glad to see that local music is being recognized by the authorities, and they are pushing positive local music and giving them the kudos that they deserve. All right?
All right. Thank you.
You're right.
Good morning.
Good morning again, gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
Paul, I have an issue with you not understanding what neat is. I don't have a problem with cornrows, be it boys or girls. Your hair must be kept low. When I say so, you plait only cornrows low and keep it tidy, because I would think.
Did you see the picture of the boys' hair?
I'm not talking about any boys. I'm talking in particular here now. I'm not talking about a special issue. I don't want to get into that issue. But I am saying, what if you you plait your hair? Because right now my granddaughter goes to school in Arima. You can't, girls not supposed, and that's primary school, and I could very well understand the principle. No high buns on top of the head. You understand? Bunny buns and thing and so. And I know the reason why too. Some of them, they hear one, you want to comb it and pull it up in high on top of your head, like if you are the teacher. Remember, it's plenty of you in the class. The teacher needs to.
Let me tell you why it's a rabbit hole, because people talking about neat and neat. When young girls put in the bundles to go graduation, and it's a lot of hair and it's out in curls and thing, that neat compared to a cane row out. That's the rabbit hole you'll go down. Because they have bundles and bundles out, and some people may find this attractive, and that's fine. So it's only when it's cornrow or braids. It's not neat.
Cornrow can be out. Cornrows are what you're plaiting against your skull and coming down, however style you want to put it. Cornrows not out.
Are you going all on the rabbit bush and the discriminatory?
No, I am saying that you have to have a certain discipline, and that's why everybody does want to go Holy Name Convent and St. Joseph's Convent and St. Mary's College. You know why? Because they kept certain discipline, and I'm not talking about any race here. I don't have with anybody problem with anybody growing their hair long. Just keep it deep.
And that statement presumes that these prestige schools do have a discipline problem, and that is not true. You have real and discipline problem in them prestige school too.
Imagine you so always want to projecting to be so straight and disciplined and so to the point, and you're not seeing what people are talking about being neat. No, Paul, not you, not a dresser and a put together person like you.
Because that is my choice for my self-expression. That don't mean that their self-expression is, which may be different to mine, is not acceptable. Everybody got to look like me. You like me how I look. That's fine. I understand that. That's where you run me down. But that everybody got to look like me.
We need plenty more like you. And let me tell you.
That don't mean everybody has to look like me. You like me and you run me down and you fall in love. But that is your choice. People have different approaches.
Paul, don't complicate no issue and think you could throw me off, you know. I have a problem with you not understanding what is neat. And that is why long ago we used to have to stand up in lines. Girls was wearing no claws on the fingers.
You tell them how you run me down. Tell them how you run me down. You run me down. You run me down. You run me down. You run, and you're still running me down. You're still running me down.
I have a problem with discipline. Right? Listen to me.
My issue is not discipline. My issue is discrimination. My issue is not the discipline. I said at the start, the rule shouldn't be there in the first place because the cornrow, we're talking about the cornrow, which is not an untidy hairstyle from what I saw the pictures of. The cornrows in the boy head was not untidy or not neat. It's discrimination.
You saw how the former Prime Minister, Grenada, took issue with the boys wearing their pants down, showing their jockey shorts and part of the bottom.
I have no problem with that, with his position in that.
Issue with it and stop what was going on with that nonsense. That's why we have to restrain.
I love you.
So there's a word called discipline.
I love you.
Yeah, all right, I go. You're getting me off. And I don't love
you. Love you.
Richard, it's on Sunday,
6:30 p.m. Napa, and God knows the country needs to laugh.
It's a real good play to laugh. Paul, you really enjoy it. Huh?
And Sidley,
really make an effort to go on Sunday, Paul.
Yeah, Sidley, this is a play that will de-stress you. You will leave the theater rejuvenated and ready to face life again. Trust me on that.
It's either ask strongly permission or come in to carry the play Sunday.
So love is
you better don't come with no cornrow.
Love is a walk. The final show is on at Napa on Sunday at 6:30 p.m. It's the final show, people. You should not miss it. Of course, tickets available at Napa from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. daily. Tickets also available at K-Squared Fashions, West Mall, East Gates, and Brentwood Mall in Chagonas. Jabili Rawi in Tunapuna, Shaflair Auto Services in Shaflair, and Tony's Florals in Valpark Shopping Plaza, and Electronics in Arima still has reserved tickets, not general, but we're going to see if we can get some general tickets to them today. So you could check them. They should probably have general tickets afternoon. All right, so have a fantastic day. The weekend begins tonight, people, at the second after midnight as we move to the weekend. And remember,
try to go back
it's great for your health.
I try and go back this year and put some corner in it for Parliament.
I'm looking forward to that. And I want to see you in the Senate.
With the cornrow. With the cornrows. We're in Parliament with my cornrows.
Oh, God. Oh.
Have a great day. Be safe out there.
All right, folks. Gentlemen, we'll chat in the morning. Let's get into our 8 o'clock news brief. because ever so gorgeous Evie is in.